Good morning, everyone. The little thing said we're live. Thought I had my stuff set up here, but all right. Tablet's acting a little wonky this morning, not wanting to set up. So as we get rolling here, do our check, make sure we are indeed live. Oh, come back to that. Oh, that's what's going on. Yeah. Okay, well, as we get going, got some stuff to get into. We have had some things go on this week, so that'll be there we go. All right, now we're showing up. Give me a check. It just some of the stuff I've been talking about and we keep talking about, and you out there that I talk with, there a lot of us I think are seeing the way this country's going up. Let me hold on a second. We'll get that overhead light off so you don't have to see the glare off my nugget there. But we have got some issues going on in this nation, and these representatives that we have are truly not doing us any favors. And I think there are a lot of us out there that do truly realize that we have got to do things differently. And we need different people to do that. And I've been saying it this week with our representative, Congressman Desjardins. Thank you for putting in that work to turn this district from blue to red. A lot of the stuff has to do with timing, and I think that's what we're seeing now. Is we're trying to get back to the Constitution, back to being conservative, back to being Christian. This is a Christian nation, and we should not apologize for any of that, for saying it, for understanding that is indeed our history. And if we don't get back to that, we will lose this nation. And that's I truly believe that, and it'll be us doing it to ourselves. And we as Christians are horrible going to the ballot box. So let's do that. Let's register to vote. You've got until I think it's the 7th of July. If you are not registered, this here in Tennessee, if you're watching this from somewhere else, get with your election commission and figure it out. And then either find candidates or figure out candidates or run yourself. Because what we're seeing now is, and I've even said this for myself, I'm like, and I know I'm better than what we have, but it's like, wow, is this going to be the best we can do? And in this race I'm in, this Republican primary, I am the best candidate. And So anyway, hey, if you're on, my name is Thomas C. Davis. I'm a candidate in the Republican primary for the U.S. House of Representatives, Tennessee's 4th Congressional District, and this is The Ground Truth from TN4. And I thank you for tuning in, whenever that may be. If you come on live, ask questions, ask later. And I think this is another week. I don't think I have anything to go through. We'll check it, but Facebook, I don't think I had any. My haters dropped off because I don't, makes me sad. Maybe I should engage with them a little bit more. But we do have some stuff to get to talking about, and I think first let's go to the calendar first. We'll talk about that. So today being the 26th, tomorrow. Actually, we've been talking about the calendar. We're coming into some events, and things are showing up that are kind of fluid, if you will. But there, I just got the notification over there that we have gone live. So looks like we might go to Manchester, to the Arnold Air Force Base. They've got some stuff going on out there. Wait. Yeah. All right. Calendar's kind of weird. But we'll be out and about. Like I said, I think maybe Arnold Air Force Base. There's the living history thing in Colmont that we're going to do. And then actually fireworks in Viola. So it looks like tomorrow we'll be out in Viola running around. If you didn't see my tailgate talks, you'll see my truck. Feel free to talk to me. We'll be talking to people out there. And then actually Sunday, I usually don't do stuff on Sunday, but the Davidson GOP is putting on a candidate meet and greet up in Davidson County, and it's at the Bicentennial Park up there. And you can see that on their page, I think. But that's from noon to 4. I have no idea where I'm at in the lineup. And in fact, I'll follow up with them today to make sure they got my RSVP. And then as we go into next week, tailgate talk on Tuesday, and we're back in Murfreesboro. And this should be, I think I put this in wrong. Should be, I'm staying an hour at places. And this one I'm doing, and I'll put this out again if as we go and as it changes. Just watch for the little graphic there with my tailgate talk. But it looks like 1 o'clock. Will be in. Maybe I'm going to do, but anyway, I got it set for an hour and a half. But I think I'm just going to do an hour. But that'll be at 3439 South Church Street in Murfreesboro. And I forget. Let me see. Oh, that's the Aldi's. It's an Aldi's parking lot. I'll be posted up at. And then from there, 1720 Old Fort Parkway, and that's the Strike and Spare. So that's the bowling alley. And then the last place is McKnight's Park, and that's 120 Desjardins Street, I think that is. No, I didn't put. But anyway, it's McKnight Park. And so I'll be doing that in Murfreesboro. I think we'll switch that up a little bit. I'll tune that a little bit more, and we'll get another location there in Murfreesboro on Tuesday. The 1st of July, and I don't think you'll hear me next week. I'm not sure if this is. I think it's going to be a pre-record, but you'll hear me behind the mic here with Main Street. I think it's the Main Street Journal. Main Street Media is the company, but I'll be on with them. And then my boys here in Warren County. This is not this is not with my campaign. These organizations that I'm a part of, American Legion, the VFW, do not endorse, sponsor, or anything. They are nonpartisan organizations, and I'll be doing some work with the American Legion. Has nothing to do with my campaign. Don't make it weird. Well, I guess you can, but just know that's how it's going to be. Okay, looks like for Independence Day. Oh, back up even for that. I almost forgot. So the 3rd of July out in Van Buren County in Spencer, they do their fireworks on the 3rd. So we're going to go out there and enjoy fireworks in Spencer. And we may look to do some other stuff out there too. But Saturday, I think I haven't really heard anything. We do have stuff going on here in McMinnville, but I think this year we're going to go down to Dunlap and get in the parade down there. And then from there, we still have to look, but we'll dial something in. But I know we talked to some folks, and we're going to be up in, I think it's Milton, Tennessee. It's in Rutherford County. But so between there and then going up there in Smyrna, I believe they said it is. But anyway, Rutherford County to their 4th of July festivities. We'll be doing some other stuff in there. So be on the lookout. We'll let you know where we're going to be. And then, hey, stop by. Let's talk. And that will lead me into a little bit about this week and what we did. So I had the tailgate talk this week, 2 places or 2 counties. I was up in Murfreesboro and then also down in Sequatchie County. And for those of you that came, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come chat with me for a few minutes and ask the questions. And I'll talk here, and I think it's actually in my stuff too, but some items that come up, and we've had some consistent themes in here about what folks are concerned about. One of which is term limits. This comes up pretty consistently, and it has been consistent throughout this time I've been doing this and running. And folks want to do it. And what we have is an election cycle. And what we need is then, if we believe somebody has been in office for too long, to then term limit them, especially the House of Representatives. And that was the whole point of the setup of this. Our House of Representatives was, and for that cycle of every 2 years, so they are more directly responsible to the people, we the people, because you're looking actually every, the whole time you're running for office, you're doing your job of the people. And so that way, if you get too far removed, then we can remove you. And that's what we have now. And so we do have the ability to switch people out every 2 years in the U.S. House of Representatives. That's why that was the intent of that, is they are directly responsible to represent we the people, that in Washington, D.C. And so as far as term limits, the easier path may be to hard to say. I say that, but be an engaged citizenry, and switch people out. There is a convention of states going around out there, and one of the things they talk about is these term limits. So that's how we have. But if you feel that way with term limits, be engaged, and then get your friends involved. Pick your new candidate, me, and let's get rid of our career politician is what we have now. Absolutely ridiculous. So that came up. AIPAC came up, and my answer to that has been no. I will absolutely take $0 from AIPAC. It's not happening. I am not going to be bought by Israel. I'm not going to be bought by anybody. I represent the district, and the way the majority of folks want us is pretty much what my values and what I've set out. And then, like I said, if we differ, we have an election cycle. You have every 2 years the opportunity to replace me. So that's how we go with that. So with that, my initial yada yada, let's go into what we have going on. So a big issue we have going on right now is indeed Iran. My personal opinion on it is I'm not excited about it. And again, we can, I understand what has happened, the years of Iran, the export, the biggest exporter of state-sponsored terrorism, all that stuff. But let's take a look at what have we actually gained from the 13 lives that we've lost engaging in this deal. Everything I've seen is nothing. We are not in a better position. We were told last year that bombing took out their nuclear capacity there, and here we are. And the only way to do this is to then invade and put boots on ground. And if that is what we're looking to do, then I should see a declaration of war, or the president going to the Congress and asking for that. I would, unless and sitting here now, I can say this. Maybe there's some inside information that that we're not privy to. But sitting here, my thought is no. I do not want a declaration of war. I do not want the War Powers Act. Unfortunately, I think we need to just cut sling load and get the crap out of there and leave them to themselves. This is America first, and there'll be some difficult times ahead trying to get to this, but we should be energy independent. Understand when we hear this that we are not energy independent. We do not refine our own oil that we pump out of the ground here in this country, and that's a problem. We do not produce a lot of our own infrastructure stuff. In particular, for the transmission of our power, of our electricity. A lot of that infrastructure stuff we do not manufacture here in the United States. Our pharmaceuticals, um, we do not produce a lot of the precursor chemicals. You hear about this, so I mean, I guess it's good. We're not necessarily have that stuff to produce our own fentanyl, but any of the other pharmaceuticals that we do use, and for me, it's minimal, but we should not be dependent on another nation to get these ingredients. Or, I mean, we should be self-sustaining, and I would go so far as to say regionally. I should be able to get everything I need from Tennessee or my border states. And I've made this. We've talked about this before. Why can I not get a California avocado in my doggone grocery store? This dependency we have is just absolutely insane, and so that's where we need to be pushing back to. So back to Iran, because they talk about we don't 20% of the world's oil reserves go scooting through that strait, and it does impact us, because indeed we're trading on the world market, which is another one. Here at home, we should not be tied to that mess. Not to say we can't trade with people and be a global power, but to be tied to them like this economically and dependent upon other nations, absolutely insane. And we have allowed our government to do it. Without the history lesson of NAFTA and all this other weird nonsense that we have allowed our government to perpetrate on us for the corporations. It's insane. And then we run around, we talk about the farm bill and how we got to take care of our farmers. Okay, let's take a look at what our farm bill is doing. It favors the corporations. I mean, now you talk about guys in Tennessee that just grow local and sell local, boutique type things, and don't cross state lines. Get out of here. Why do they have to tag their herd? Knock it off. And as far as was it the screwworm deal? I see we've got these here now. Quit importing cattle from freaking other nations. Stop it. This is, again, back to our food security. And I know for myself, my family, we have friends that have a herd, and so we buy local, and then we go to the our farmers market as much as we can. I'm not saying everything I get is from local. It's just it doesn't work that way, but as much as we can, we go to our Four Corners market. We go out there. Our butcher here in McMinnville, the butcher on Main, we go see him. We go to the farmers market as much as we can, and we've started our own garden. We ain't started, but we've continued with our garden, and our goal is as much as we can from Tennessee. And the things that we don't get from here we're looking at them to be more wants versus needs. Plus all the poisons, yada yada. So anyway, all that back to Iran. We need to get out of that mess, and it's very unfortunate. And that's the question I was asked a few weeks ago. It's like, what does a victory look like? I don't know that we can call it a victory at any point unless you actually go in and do a war. We're not doing a war. We're calling it all kinds of different things, and to include a war, but we're not doing war. We're doing some weird excursion in there where we're trying to do it all from the air, and that doesn't work. We've seen it, and if we can look at history, and we haven't done this, I don't believe intentionally, but what we can't see it in Lebanon and I believe Palestine probably, but you start bombing the civilian population, it does not break the will of your citizenry. Look at England, right? Even look at Germany, us carpet bombing the crap out of them folks. It wasn't that necessarily broke the will of the people on either of those sides, and the Brits never did. It strengthened the resolve. So that's a horrible idea. But to go in there and think we can just bomb their infrastructure out, and maybe we can, but yeah, I don't think so. If you want to, and we as our edict should not be to take and hold ground. We shouldn't be trying to annex Iran. Uh, anyway, that's kind of where I am, and I haven't that my personal opinion, and I understand if, and I haven't really found anybody out here that I've talked to that's like, yeah, this is a solid plan. Let's get after it. I mean, I hear the people on the, our pundits, our war hawks, our military industrial and complex people on the news, but out here in the fourth district, trying, yeah, I don't think I've heard anybody that has said, yeah, let's keep hammering away at this mess. And this is a wide range of folks too. Let's yeah, it's time. Just cut sling load, man. Get the crap out of there. That would be my deal. And like I said, if you're gonna do it, do it. This half step and stuff. I mean, how many times do we need to see this stuff? Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Iraq again. It doesn't work. So let's quit doing it, or let's figure out a different way. Okay, we talked a little bit about this already. Israel, AIPAC, and our foreign policy a little bit. I have said this. I'll go again. I will take no AIPAC money. That's to me is a horrible idea. This is foreign influence, and if you look at the AIPAC tracker, they've bought us. They have bought our congressional representatives, to include Congressman Scott DesJarlais. He's taken their money, and so what does that mean? We get into wars with Iran. We do all this crazy stuff with Israel, and my belief is the Israel we have today as a nation is not the Israel of the Bible. There's no need for us to bless them. And if it is, and I'll pray for them, I will bless them in that manner as an individual. But as a government, we have no, it's not one of the enumerated powers to nation build, not one of the enumerated powers to prop up another nation. And if they want to stand on their own. But that's that cycle, is we're tied into them through these laws, no treaties, and through the military industrial complex. We give a bunch of taxpayer money to them every stinking year, and then they turn around and buy the armaments from us. So who's that benefiting? Corporations. Now, obviously, we have Americans that work in those corporations, get paid, yada yada. But this is not a benefit to us. And even strategically, I mean, we talk about all these other allies in that region. Well, these guys are not our best friends. They absolutely are not our greatest ally. They've stolen from us technology, sold it to other nations. Time to cut sling load here again. Also, this is another one. Get out. And it's going to be up to Congress, because they've written laws through the NDAA. And that's another one that kind of has been coming up through the NDAA, trying to strengthen those ties and tie us in even more with Israel. No, that's a horrible, horrible, horrible idea. Let's knock it off. So, yeah, and it just goes any of these lobbyist organizations, pharmaceutical companies. And I would encourage you, go to the Federal Election Commission and look up your representative, whether you're here in Tennessee's 4th or any other. And if they're taking AIPAC money, they should be voted out. That's my opinion. If you take AIPAC money, you need to be voted out. You do not have. I won't go so far as to say you're a traitor, but you're not putting America first if you're taking that money. And if you're taking pharmaceutical money, you don't have the best interest of the people in mind, because again, another history rabbit hole without going down. But our medical model does not have us in mind. It does not have us in mind. It has the profits of the corporations in mind. So again, go look that up on your own, or just label me some wacky conspiracy theorist. But it's out there. The information is there. I'm not dropping any links in the comments. Go figure it out. And if you want to see the truth, you'll see it. If not, you won't. So there we go. Anything else I want to hit on with the with the APAC. Yeah. Like I said, that's my commitment. I understand where I work and where I come back to. And that's, so, uh, actually we'll pick that one back up when we get, I know it's on my list here. FISA. FISA is coming back up, and our boy Scott Desjardins is more than happy to sell our liberties, vote against our liberties. FISA has become a tool that's been weaponized to use against we the people, and this is unacceptable. How about I support law enforcement. I worked law enforcement for a little bit. Go do your job. Anytime you hear people start talking about, oh, we're doing this for your safety, or it's to make the job of law enforcement easier, understand that stuff can be used against you, and it has. How many Ruby Ridges do we need? How many Wacos do we need? How many animals need to be killed? How many wrong houses do we need to go into before we start taking a look? And by far, we have a more professional force now. There's training involved in academies and all that. But you look at these tools that we put out, like, oh, for your safety, flock camera. Flock camera is a horrible flipping idea. Again, go look it up. Already issues out there with law enforcement guys accessing those cameras to stalk people. And again, the law enforcement, we're all citizens. We're all participating in this country, and we all choose different paths. And I think you're a very special person if you've chosen that, to go into law enforcement, to go into the military, to EMS, fire, those types of things. But understand, there are people that go into these either initially for nefarious purposes, and I've met some, or it turns into it. You have that, but they've used it. Law enforcement accessing these cameras to stalk. Same thing with a license plate reader that they have access for in their cars. You're looking to get numbers. Dudes out there trying to pick up chicks. Knock it off, man. Horrible. And that's the price. That's what happens. That you do it for our safety, but then you create this. And with the flock cameras, it's not just the cops. There's cases out there of people hacking into those cameras for those exact things. That don't put me at risk because you think it's gonna help. And there are cases. The other side of that too is, yes, they've helped solve crimes, but go do the work. Let's get back to a community that's involved and can help out. So that stuff with this FISA, not a fan. Absolutely 100% not a fan. And again, this is the same deal that was used against President Trump in 2016. Remember all that stuff? So yeah, that's another vote that came up. And so okay, next up, and let me get some of my I keep wanting to say mud water. I'm not drinking mud water. It's actually Rise, is the mushroom coffee that I drink currently. Okay, the McMinnville VA clinic. There's actually a couple VA issues here we'll talk about. And one is our clinic. We've been talking about this. We'll keep talking about it. But we've managed to keep it open at least through the election cycle, right? So through December. And I've talked about this before. Go back, watch the invite-only event held for Congressman Desjardins here in Warren County, in McMinnville. And if you're watching this, if you're a vet, hit me up. Drop me an email, tomdavis@tn4@gmail.com, or on the socials there. Drop me a comment and let me know if you are a Warren County veteran, if you were actually invited to this. I know of one. I didn't make it. Well, I know of, and I know of another one from Franklin County that made the invite list. But if you're here, let me know if you actually got invited. And this is what we're seeing out of our representative is, sure, we're seeing some social posts about, hey, here I am seeing people, and don't be fooled. Those are invite events, invite only. So they're going to be, this guy doesn't want to ask the hard questions, or doesn't want to answer the hard questions. So there is that. And I would ask you continue to call up there, call Washington, be like, what are you doing now? Because watch that. His deal is like, well, they've kind of taken it over, so we can just expect they'll keep doing it. No, knock it off. You jumped on board trying to keep this thing open because it turned into a big political issue, and now you've got it open past the election cycle, and you'll forget about us. I don't truly believe he. I mean, I think maybe hey, thank you for your service, that stuff. But when it comes time to actually step up and step into the breach, this is not our guy, especially on veterans issues. And the next issue we have with veterans going on right now is again the Major Richard Starr Act. Our representative has not signed the discharge petition to get this thing moving. It's like this is the third cycle that this act has been in. How hard is this? This is common sense. Your disability in your retirement, or your compensation in your retirement, disability compensation and your retirement are two different things. There should be no offset any way, shape, or form, whatever. And I met a guy last night out in Bledsoe County that would be impacted by this. This one is just too easy, and we allege bipartisan support. I mean, these jokers can come on board when they want to continue to cover up the sexual misconduct. They can all get on board for that mess. But when it comes time to actually taking care of veterans, like what are we doing on this? And it's kind of over in the Senate, but the House can do the thing to this discharge petition. Let's just get it moving. This one is ridiculous. And then what's happening is now we have this. It's the Taking Care of America's Veterans Act. Oh my gosh, this is so. What they're trying to do is cut funding from one group of veterans to fund the Major Richard Starr Act. And this is what this stuff runs into. That's the fight. Well, how are we going to fund this act? One, I don't believe. I mean, there's enough veterans impacted that we should do this thing. But how about we cut the money to Ukraine? Let's just do that. We can fund the Major Richard Starr Act. That should be plenty. Or if we need more, how about then we chop off money going to Africa for AIDS? That's not an us problem. If we think there's an epidemic out there, just don't let these people come into this country, which is another issue. How about we do that? Or Israel? How about we start peeling back from them fools, and take care of American veterans? This is not that difficult of a task. I mean, every single one of these jokers up. Well, no, I can't even say it, but most of them will tell you that, oh yeah, I support veterans. Thank you for your service, and they'll say the things until it comes time to be reasonable. And I saw one of them, and I think the guy was actually a Democrat. I didn't catch who it was, but that was his question: is like, why are veterans the only community where we try and cut benefits from one of them to pay for another one? How does that even make sense? When we start talking about these other, the other, part of the 22% of the government spending that's social, or that's welfare, we never talk about cutting those jokers out. It's the veterans. So we have already stood up, answered the call to protect this nation, defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And you turn around and this is how it works. Like, you guys are clowns, man. So that's the other issue we got up there. So if you get a chance, call up there and ask for that discharge petition, and tell them this Taking Care of America's Veterans Act is nonsense. Anything in there that cuts out of one to give to another is absolutely ridiculous. So there we go. And like I said, for me as the representative, hey, I'm interfacing. That's probably a committee I should be on, Veterans Affairs. And even outside of that, I'm interfacing with that agency. And I'm back home. I'm talking to veterans. How's your care? And because I want to hear from the folks that are actually going to the clinics. They're not just and I think we all understand a lot of these surveys. One is about 10%. About 10% of people will actually fill these things out. And typically to do that, someone's mad, and so they go in there and they put up, they let them know. Which, and I mean, I'm trying to discourage it, but if you received good service, good care, whatever, um, do that review also. So to keep some of these clinics going is do the reviews, call your patient advocate and let them know that these folks are doing a good job. Um, and if not, the closing the clinic is not the answer. I'm just telling you, that's how I feel about that. Um, these guys, I feel a lot of it is gaslighting with us with the VA, and we and I will tell you, I believe we can do better than what we currently have. I don't know necessarily, my plan would be for that, but this VA system is broke. It's a huge government freaking suck fest for a lot of veterans, and the money that's wasted, I guess. I mean, obviously, if you're getting a paycheck, you don't think it's wasted, but in the administration of the organization, like, yeah, take a look at some numbers and see how much of this money that we fund to it goes to administrative costs. So I believe we can come up with a better plan, a much more streamlined VA, maybe a little bit of that administration stuff to take care of some stuff for us. But I don't see why we can't just, here's your I'm a veteran card. Here's what I'm entitled to, and just hand them the thing. You go pick your own doc. That's where you go. Whether they're, and that's part of the problem is you got to get like certified through the VA. And look, I don't give a rip if I want to go to whatever doctor I want to go to. That's my decision. I don't need the government saying, well, they're not certified through our process. And screw you, hippie. That's my deal to do. Yeah. So I do believe we should be able to have a better system for our veterans. The one we got is nonsense. So there we go. Oh, what's going on now? Huh. Okay. Another favorite topic. Federal spending and the national debt. Every time look, this national debt it impacts all of us. I'm at a point I pump my own gas, and I've seen the pumps, and and that goes back to Iran and some of that stuff. And understand, I'm gonna sidetrack just a minute. The gas prices have been coming down. However, understand that's how they do it, is selling off of our strategic reserve. Last night I think that we've got about a month of that left. So that, and this is the same thing. I mean, just because the parties are not immune or insulated from doing these things just because you're one or the other. Because I remember we all went nuts in the midterms last time. So what, 22, 23 there, 22, when we started doing this, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, Joe Biden's selling off the reserves to artificially lower the gas prices. It's happening now. That's what's going on. Just understand that. So, but back to the spending, and that affects us all. Now, our national debt, again, I think the number is actually $1.8 trillion in the deficit. So we spend $1.8 trillion more every year than what is taken from us in taxes. That is a horrible idea. And again, I understand, and I think we all understand that a government is not a business. It is not a household. However, the concept is still there. You should not spend more than what you make or take. And they do not really produce a revenue. That's not a function. And that's all this, America, us being involved in buying into these, these private companies. This is a horrible idea, and it needs to stop. And Congress should step up and do something about it. So anyway, that's and this goes back to how we've allowed this to evolve, and that's these big, either omnibus bills or big beautiful bills where we're cramming all this nonsense in there, 1,000-page documents. Flipping, none of them are reading it. You remember, you got to read it, you got to pass it to be able to read it, so you can know what greatness it is, and like that one's the healthcare, right? If Obamacare was so great, why are we still arguing about this trash? Horrible. So that, and again, unconstitutional, not enumerated for the federal government to be taking care of your medical needs. And we would be much better off if we were on a free market. Just saying. So anyway, but single item bills, prioritize it. And I mean, right now our priority is just paying our national debt. The crap, that's the biggest line item in the federal budget. And a greater transparency in it. This is just crazy how this goes. So there is all that. I kind of ran through them fairly quick here, which is good. We'll get to go back and touch on some other stuff, I think. But I'm telling y'all, we have got some problems going on in Washington, D.C. And if we keep sending the same people up there, we're going to keep getting the same result. And I'm telling you, I don't know when. I'm not Johnny Wishbone, psychic extraordinaire. But at some point, our government bubble pops, because we are 100% on a government bubble. And, and again, now I don't recall the numbers, but I know Pete Hegseth was back in front of Congress trying to, trillions of dollars, I think, to replenish what we've burned up over in Iran. Like horrible. Yeah. And then again, Israel, same thing. They're gonna want more money from us so they can then buy more of our. It's a vicious cycle. Knock it off. And so that's the other bit I heard this week. They were talking about is, and this is out of our administration. I think it was J.D. Vance was talking about this, if not him, or him and or other people. But like, we're the last ally that Israel has. Maybe we should take stock of who our friends are and who our allies are. Again, I like to break this stuff down, kind of, bring it home, schoolyard stuff, right? If I'm hanging out with the one dude that nobody freaking likes, that's not good for me, man. This guy's getting me into freaking fights. He's, I'm having to buy this dude lunch all the time, whatever. Like, hey, dude, yeah, we're not friends anymore. If we're the last ally, the last friend that Israel has, it might be us that's wrong. I'm just saying that, and that's something we should take a look at. And this is something I've been saying. So those guys, same thing with, what are we getting? What's in it for us? It's okay for our government to be selfish. It truly is. That their job, the federal government's job, is to take care of we the people. Not to be, to make me sound, very, like I don't care, like I'm some, unsympathetic freaking, wild man or something. But people starving in other countries is not an us problem per se, a federal government problem. It's not enumerated in the Constitution for our federal government to make sure we're feeding other people. Not in there. Now, as a Christian nation, as Christians, as individuals, as churches, absolutely. And our churches are doing this. We have missions going all over the place. But a federal, it's not up to the federal government to do those things. And in fact, the less federal government we have, or the more they're back within the contract, the Constitution, the better off we are. And that would allow our churches more flexibility. And then since and that was that this Sunday? Yeah. So this Sunday I was at a church, and they allowed me to speak. And this has been the problem. We as Christians we have the, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? And so we throw up our hands and we talk about, oh my gosh, we can't do anything. No, go take a look into a little bit of the context of that. And even outside of that, okay, that's fine. However, this government, this republic was set up on those Christian values. And we have a form of government where we're in charge of it. And if you're just going to throw your hands up and be like, well, then you're wrong. I'm going to tell you right now, you're absolutely wrong. You should be voting, and you should know about your candidates and what their votes are. And it's a lot to keep up with. I'm not even gonna lie to you or try and cover it up. But there's ways to do it. You have groups of people that you can trust. They're in it. With the social media we have now, you have this information available. Sift through it and figure it out. And that's what we hear, like, oh my gosh, he's such a conservative representative. No, he's not. look at the votes, the ones we talked about this week. And then I did the shorts earlier this week on them, but the what even was it? The conservation one. Now, and to talk a little bit more about that, if the federal government caused the problem, absolutely, the federal government should pay for it. If for whatever reason the government caused a wildfire, then yes, they should be on the hook for it. That's just how it should be. But even for that, into states, if states want to have these insurance policies and disaster reliefs and all that, that's up to the states. Again, general welfare. If California burns to the ground today, I'm not advocating. But I'm just saying, pick a state. If it were to, just go up in smoke, how does that impact Tennessee? How does that impact? How is that general welfare? How does that impact the other 49 states minimally? So, and again, you look at the specifically FEMA, you look at how they've operated, they're not very efficient. So leave it to the states, and we the people have shown a much better capacity and much more efficient to get into these places and help. It's crazy. And then that stuff aside, this legislation then allows folks to ask for the money up front, and they get paid. Like, hey, I had a natural disaster, and it's declared. I am, a little bit facetious there, I guess, but that's a design for fraud. Like, I can go in and if you're in the declared area, and just like, hey, I'm gonna need money, and the government's like, up to, I think it was like 75%, and then verify. No, that's not the way insurance works. I have made a few insurance claims. You get estimates, and then you pay for it, and then or the work gets done, and the insurance cuts a check, and you pay your deductible, depending on how your insurance is set up. But it does, yeah, crazy. So that legislation, I forget, there was some other stuff going on this week. Yeah, FISA, but then I don't know. Is that escaping me off the top of my head? We could probably go back and look, but okay. Well, let's like I said, we'll scoot through the Facebook here. I don't think, what is this? Do I have any? Oh, this will probably be a good one. It was just that post I made. So I was in Bledsoe County last night, and I mentioned, I don't know, but thank you, Bledsoe County, for the opportunity to speak. To let all the candidates have a run through that wanted it. And but yeah, it was good to be back out in Bledsoe County again and talking to those folks. And I said thank you. And so that's all. Mr. McCauley out there, who was running for the state house out there, just replied to that. Yep. So very good. That was off of that post. Okay. Likes. Yeah. I don't think I had, all I had was, I had some, oh, wait a minute. What do we got here? I don't know if this is me. Oh no, this is, man. All right. That's kind of a cool picture. one of the groups I'm in, the Main Street, Murfreesboro, Rutherford Inc. Anyway, there's a picture of a tiny car with some flowers in it. The way it looked, it might have been. I was thinking it was one of those people. Yeah, I got some ha-has, so no interaction from the haters, which makes me kind of sad. Those of you that do come and comment, either comments, I don't care. And I'll listen to you, even you wackadoos on the left. Yeah, occasionally you may have a good idea. I don't know, but I'll listen to it and sift through it. That's kind of one of the things I've said about training and going to a lot of different places. And a lot of us, as you go to firearms training and stuff, you will kind of, what I've seen is you'll pick like a school that you really like. The downside to that is guys will get caught up and then they think that's the only way to do it. Like, oh my gosh, you have to do this way. And they'll go to other schools and they'll, so anyway, they're like groupies, right? But those of us that do train a lot, then they'll advocate, and you'll find most of the good schools will tell you to go train other places, but you go to other places to train, even if it's just to validate what you're doing works for you. Because that's why you have a lot of these different techniques, and a little off topic, but this is free stuff for you. That's why there's a lot of different techniques to do things. Is some of them don't work. Your body composition, you may have some special or some some type of affliction that prevents you. You've gotten old and you can't quite hop up off the ground or drop to the ground like you used to or whatever. So you'll find different techniques in these different schools. So that's why, I'll listen to other folks and we can have a discussion. But like I said, we're going to act like adults. So there is that. Yeah, I think overall it was a good week. But again, for the Facebook comments, I appreciate everybody that gets on there and comments one way or another. Thumbs up, haha. Whether you realize it or not, if you're on there hating, it helps Al Gore's rhythm. That's awesome. So keep it up. Let's go. And I will tell you, I'm getting the feeling this and kind of the way I've been, talking to folks and the work. This is I'm thinking we can get this across the line, and I'm going to be absolutely excited, thrilled to be your representative. And it's got to, I see, the stuff's got to start somewhere. Might as well be here in Tennessee's 4th Congressional District. And I've seen some hope out there in Marion County. Was down in Marion County this week. Thanks, Marion County, Republican Party down there for that meeting and the opportunity to bump my gums down there for a few minutes. But a couple I've interacted with down there that, very, very long-standing Democrats, they were at the Republican Party meeting. They're switching over because that party has gone absolutely bat crap crazy. You got the lunatics in charge of the asylum. That's something else has been going on this week. Democratic socialists that don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. They're more than happy to spend other people's money, and whose money are they going to spend when they run out of that? So it's not on everybody else's. And this comes back to federal dollars. All these federal dollars going into these cities. Knock it off. That's another thing came with data centers. I think we talked about that last week too. But yeah, I'm not a fan. I have not met any Tennessee, citizen that's like, yeah, let's get us some data center. So we've got to crack the code on it, I do believe, but maybe just not in Tennessee. There you go. Or the market needs to come up with a better solution than the noise that goes on with them, the light pollution, and then our water, our utilities, our water and electric. And be careful. You hear about self-sustaining centers. Here's how that works. They will pump in the natural gas or the propane, whatever, and then they will suck the water out of your system to turn into steam to run the turbines. So while they may be on a closed loop system, they're using your water to drive those turbines. Uh, or they'll have diesel engines to because they cannot lose power, so that's their backups. Yeah, do some research on it. This setup is no bueno in a lot of places. And Tennessee's in a drought. That's the word on the street. So what I've been hearing, we're in a drought. So and I'd say that for growth. Everybody's talking about growth. I'd say, in my county, in where I live, Warren County, I'd say we're full. Let's stabilize and build the infrastructure out and kind of catch up, because we're getting hit here too with all the growth. So slow down. I would say at a state level, we're full, man. Let's have a range that we'd like to be at population wise, and stop. I think it's Sequatchie actually. I heard down there moratorium on their water meters, so you're not getting any houses without water meters. Just saying. And they're trying to catch up with their infrastructure. There's a reason for it, not just, hey, we don't want anybody. But this growth we always talk about has to be projected out. We have to be ready for it. And you see county after county after county talking about the growth and fighting the infrastructure issues. You got right now flipping Chattanooga. They grew too fast. They cannot. Their solution to their solid waste and their sewage is to dump it on the smaller counties. Like, this is ridiculous. So I think we're full. I think even at the national level, pause. Hit that pause button, man. Stop, and let's sort through the population that we have. Let's we talk about all the starving kids and all that stuff. Let's figure out how to feed our folks here at home. The free market is the answer. I'll tell you that right now. And just the good nature of people in the churches. But you take that away. And that's what I was going to talk about for the churches is our tax code, our tax system. That's why that was a tool to silence our churches. You make this whole nonprofit thing. And then if you violate some stuff like, hey, you can't get into politics, understand the founding of our nation. Our pastors, our preachers went in and talked about it. And then not only that, they picked up their muskets and went and did the thing. I'm not suggesting right now that our pastors pick up their firearms and we're not at that stage. Let's go to the ballot box and fix it and turn this around. Let's go to the prayer. Let's turn to God and turn back to Him, and maybe some of this stuff will get sorted out. But close the doggone borders to everybody. All these students that we're importing. It's been a horrible idea. Look at our campuses. And there is some light on the campuses, and some of our younger folks are waking up. But in the meantime, let's help them. Stop it. We do not need to import all these people to go to our colleges, because it's obviously the intent was, hey, they'll come here and see how great America is, and they'll take it back. That's not what's happened. So we need to figure out something else. Same thing with all the work visas. The market will figure it out. I guarantee you there are Americans that will do these jobs. This nonsense about they're doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do is just that nonsense. So let's cut it down. So okay, that's bringing it to the end. Hey, if at any time you watch this whole deal, I appreciate it. I appreciate those out there that are supporting the campaign. Oh, I did. Oh, that's not till the next week. But the 11th will be in Marion County at their Reagan Day dinner. So if you're in Marion County, get your tickets. Come on out. But those of you who supported the campaign that are coming on board, I truly appreciate it. And it's just very humbling out there. Every time I get up in front of folks and talk about the issues and some of it, you get to see a shock value. When you tell folks that Congressman Desjardins voted yes, transgender affirming care in the military, and yes, is part of the another ginormous package, the National Defense Authorization Act. But they're like, what? So some of those votes are we're not watching. So, but I do appreciate it. If you would do the things, the likes, the comments, the shares, tell your friends. Early voting, or not necessarily early voting, but the primary. And the early voting starts August 17th, runs through the 1st, and then election day is on the 6th of August. that is where I need you. If you're trying to wait till November, if I don't win in August, you're not going to see me in November. So, but I think we can do it. And with your help, we absolutely will. So, again, appreciate y'all. And until the next one, this will defend.